Theresia.
Oh, okay.
Please, Theresia, you can start.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope you all doing well. Today we are going to talk about the trends in mortality profile of extinct and extant human population. As Sarah told you, that our group consists of me, Theresia from Unife, TANNISTA from Unife, MIRABELLO from Unife, and Alejandro from IPT. And our tutors are Professor Carlos and Julie. And let's start in our first slide. Okay, demography is the statistical study of a population structure, size, composition, and related features such as biological sex, age, and geographic distribution. When it refers to the past, it is called paleodemography. This branch of archaeology attempts to identify demography parameters from past populations extracted from the data recovered from the archaeological context and used to understand a population's distribution. The highlights of our studies are, first, comparison of the prehistoric sites with a recent mortality profile of extant population. Second, understanding the issues of the paleodemography study of extinct population. Third, literature review and carrying the secondary data on the importance of prehistoric sites of having demographic quantitative data. And the last is to use the paleodemographic parameters to understand the mortality profile and age group representation of several archaeological sites. There is a note before we are going to talk about paleodemographic because the factor of preservation conditions of the skeletal remains are prone to be affected by physical and culture associated, both in recent or prehistoric contexts such as erosion, decomposition, redeposition, cremation, cannibalism, and other behavioral singularities. These such of conditions and also the rapid growth difference will result in unwelcome uncertainties and broad margins of error. Thus, it is recommended to keep in mind that there is a considerable gap of information between the living population and the archaeological sample. Where we can measure the age of it at death, it is sure that dental pieces stand among the most durable and resistant, and because of this determination of age range, tends to focus on the dentition, and if it's available, other areas of skeletal anatomy may also be used to analyze the archaeological context. Next will be presented by my friend TANNISTA.
Thank you very much, Theresia. I will present from the same computer as me now. So, hello everyone, hello professors. Today, as a part of our presentations on paleodemographical data, as it has been introduced by my colleague right now, I would like to talk about the different sites and their specificities that we have studied. It is to give a general background on the different sites. I will be talking about their locations and a little bit about the paleoanthropological remains. So, as you can see here, there are 6 sites that we have studied, which are Mulagarsi, Grandolina, Crapina, Cimadelosis, and El Cedron. Liban has also been studied, which is chosen specifically as a control group for our analysis, which we will come to talk about in the following sections. So, the first site that we are going to talk about is Grandolina. It is located in the Sierra Atapuerca karstic system in northern Spain. I'm sorry if the pronunciation is not very right, but you can read here in the slide we have mentioned. The excavation here had begun in the middle 1990s, as we all know. The site gives us a chronology of 0.9 million years ago, which has been dated using several techniques. And interestingly enough, more than 90 human remains have been found in the site in the TD6 stratigraphy, along with Mode 1 tools. There are in total 10 individuals which have been identified till now, and a number of tamphonomic analyses have been done on them. The most reliable estimation of the minimum number of individuals and the age of the time of death was built using the data observed in the mandible, the maxillary, and the dental remains. The next slide, please. Thank you. The next site that we are going to talk about is Cimadalosis. It's also in the proximity of Grandolina, situated a little south in the karstic systems in northern Spain. The site has been excavated for over half a century, and work is still being conducted there. The chronology that has been established of the site is 430,000 years ago. Till now, more than 4,000 human remains have been found. The same methodology that has been used in Grandolina for the age of death estimation has also been used for Cimadalosis. There are debates regarding the number of individuals, but according to the most recent publication, the total number of individuals is 29. Next slide, please. The third site is Mulagarsi. It is a part of the karstic caves within the Sierra de Guerci, located in the Middle Rhone Valley, southern France. The chronology has been studied through paleo-environmental remains. It correlates with the marine isotopic sequence 5E. The archaeological interventions in the cave began around 1870, and was continued for over a century. Till now, only 6 individuals have been identified, which are Neanderthals, and they belong from a time range around 350,000 years ago. As we can see here in the table, the individuals mostly belong from the age range of 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and 10 to 15 years. We don't see many individuals from the age range that from 30 and above. Next slide. Thank you. El Cedron is another site that we studied. It's in the karstic caves of northern Spain again. The chronology of this site has been found out to be 49,000 BP. The caves has numerous ramifications and galleries, from which the Galleria del Osario stands out. Incidentally, the first hominin here was discovered in a chance discovery in 1994. However, that led to a lot of archaeological work. Until now, more than 2,300 hominin remains have been identified, along with Middle Paleolithic stone tools. There are 13 individuals that have been identified so far. The specimens show signs of butchering, which is associated with cannibalism. Next slide. Now let's talk about Krapina. Krapina is a late prehistoric site, is the last prehistoric site that we have studied. It's from the famous rock shelters in northwest Croatia. The chronology has been established around 130,000 years ago. The archaeological material and hominin remains have deposited due to fluvial action in the level 4, which has been labeled as the Homo zone in the site. However, there are many questions regarding the accumulation, as whether it was like cannibalistic activities or natural environmental causes or animal activities. The total number of individuals that has been estimated here so far are 83, and they have been studied based on the analysis of the teeth. In fact, there are 191 isolated teeth and 90 additional teeth in associated from the jaws that have been studied. So this site provides a lot of individuals, as we can see. But if we look into the table, the age range, again from 30 and above, do not show carry many individuals. Next slide, please. Thank you. The last site that I'm going to talk about is Liban. It is located on the northern bank of Portage River in Ohio. The chronology of this site is much younger in comparison to the last ones I was talking about. It's around 800 to 1100 CE, and which was found through radiocarbon dating. The site provides 1,327 individual skeletons, and it is a claim that it has the largest and the best preserved North American cemetery. Now, I would like my colleague Mirabello to speak further on the study and explain why we chose to study this extant population of Aboriginals from Lebanon and compare them with the other prehistoric sites. Thank you.
Thank you, Tannishta. So basically, in this part of the presentation, we talk about the methodology and the results. So basically, what we made with our data. So in general, we can say that the paleodemographic comparison studies have always a lot of problems and limitations. So we apply a specific methodology for obtain a statistical record that we can use, that we can be useful for our paleodemographic analysis. For that reason, we focus our attention in particular on the age of death of the individuals that we can drag from each site, and from each site, and we adjusted them in percentages for have a better comparison in inter-site comparisons. Next slide. So basically, we made two graphs with two different databases, and for build our a balanced database with the first database, we use models from other paleodemographic studies, above all from the Bocquet-Appel studies. And the first one is about the age of death ranges that we compared our 6 sites with the ranges of 5 years for the age of death. And we processed the graphs with the program, the statistical program PAST, and that express the first graph, the locality, the spread, the squeakiness of the numerical groups in 10 different age groups from 0 to 5 to greater than 45 years. And the ages, these groups were distributed into the different groups that are infant, child, juvenile, adolescent, young adults, and adults. So next slide. So this is our first graph, and it's we can recognize three main group of a different accumulation pattern, and the first one is represented by the site of Liban, that is our cemetery site, that show a typical attritional pattern. In fact, we can see so clear that here the infant mortality is really so high, then the curve tends to decrease and then to increase again with the older and middle-aged individuals. But the situation is really so different with our Paleolithic sites, because we can see in all the 5 sites an over-representation of the infants and juvenile individuals. In particular, we can see it for Krapina, Mulagorsi, and Grandolina, that show a really similar pattern due to probably a same type of accumulation, that and the interpretation is the cannibalistic pattern accumulation. The third group is represented by El Cidrón and Cima de los Huesos, that are the only two site that have middle-aged and adult individuals, and in particular Cima de los Huesos, it's really erratic behavior, because we can see that it's really irregular and have these two peaks that probably due to a particular type of accumulation. So next slide. We made another database, a control database for another graph that expressed the adjustment of the age to the age assessment techniques, taking into consideration the different rate of the dental growth with the population of Homo sapiens and Neanderthal, taken always from Boquet-Tapel. So the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, and yes, we can see that the second graph is really too similar to the first. We can see better the accretional model for Lieben and less for the Paleolithic sites. So okay, next slide. And yes, this is just a synthesize of what I said before, and now we can talk about the conclusion and discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Mirabello. So as you can see, we had 3 patterns. One irregular, the other one focused on the age groups that are juvenile, and another that is attritional. What this last second pattern tells us is that cannibalism has a proposed model, but it does not fit neither with catastrophic profile nor with an attritional profile. Now the sites have problems because, well, they have underwent a lot of taphonomic processes, so they are not complete. The collections also have problems with assessment of sex, so we couldn't make group sex to analyze if there was a distribution of this of the interpopulation. So we wanted to answer the question of representativeness in the site. So these 3 groups are represented, mostly the Neanderthals. We expected, well, because of the pyramid population, we expected that they would behave the same way as Homo sapiens. They have the same longevity and the same type of pattern, but what we found out is that the older individuals and the infant individuals are underrepresented or absent in this case, and that is what makes these sites very, very special. Maybe we could have compared with another type of depositions. That means, for example, warfare or ritualistic sites. But that's why we expect to analyze in the future. So thank you very much. If you have any questions.
Okay, thank you for your presentation.